MyHeritage announced a revolutionary technology with their city directory collection. And when I say revolutionary, I mean not only do they just give you hints about your city directory collections that have your ancestors in them, but they actually find all of the city directory hints and put them together as close as possible. I'm going to tell you about a little bit of those caveats coming up. Now, to access the city directory collection, there's a number of ways to get there, but this is the way I get to it. Research, and then I go down to Directories, which is way down here at the bottom, and then right here at the top, US City Directories. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to search. So let me take myself off screen here, and we're going to start investigating. So let me zoom in just a little so you can see what we have going on. Whoop, that's too big. Down here, we're going to put Gertrude Rang. Now, Gertrude Rang is someone that I've been researching quite a bit, and she lived in Columbus, Ohio. So type that in. Just keep scrolling down. Just keep scrolling down. Ha! Gertrude L. Rang, 1908. She's there between 1910 and 1918. And then there's another one, 1919 to 1936. Okay, we are on the right path for Gertrude Rang. So let's go and see what's really super amazing about this. When we scroll down, it says that there's an implied spouse, Edward, that she's living here between 1906 and 1909. And then we can click and look on the actual image. Click on that. Full screen, and we can zoom in. Woo! Going a little crazy there. And we can see that Gertrude is a dressmaker at Parsons Avenue. So this is really great because, honestly, I hadn't known that she had this entry before. So MyHeritage found a new city directory for me that I hadn't seen before. Most of the time she's a teacher, but in 1908, she's a dressmaker. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to look further at what else is happening here. So when I scroll down, we've got that she's in the 1906 to 1907 directories, and then she's in the 1909 to 1910 directory. Let me correct myself. In 1906, she is a dressmaker. So I can save Gertrude to my family tree, save Gertrude, that information, and now we have a side-by-side. We have the tree information on the left and the city directory on the right, and we're going to fix her name, Gertrude, and we're going to take the L out because that's her, really represents her maiden name. And then I'm going to add, I'm not going to add the Rang. The Rang is her married name, but I'm going to bring in all this record information. And notice it's also going to bring the source citation for me automatically. And then I can actually add a new husband, Edward Rang. And it brings in all this information. Now, in the record, it said she was actually a widow. So I'm not going to bring the residence information because he didn't live there. He was a widow, which actually isn't accurate. Some of our ancestors do lie a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and save to the tree. And now I have 2 city directories that are attached to my tree from one search. See, that's what I'm talking about it being revolutionary. One search for Gertrude, and I have 2 city directories. But let's go back and see if we can find more city directories for Gertrude. So now I have this Gertrude L. Rang between 1919 and 1936. We can go ahead and scroll down. She's at a different address, and she is still implied that she has a husband named Edward. Now she's a teacher, and look at all of the city directories MyHeritage has found for me. It is absolutely incredible. And if I click on this one, then the image down here will go to that year's city directory. I have all of these sources that are now going to be coming to my tree. I am so beyond excited. So I'm going to hit save and then go through that process again. And I can just start bringing all of this information over, that she's a teacher. I'm not going to bring anything over about Edward, and I'm going to save to the tree. I can't even begin to tell you how exciting it is to rapid fire find all of those city directories. Now, I have videos on this channel about city directories. I'm finding them in Ancestry and Dawn's List and any place you can find city directories. It has not been this fast to find those city directories, to link them to your tree. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I don't think I'm going to come off cloud 9 for a very long time. But there are more things that you need to know about city directories. I'm not even getting started. Okay, calm down. Now, let us go back and let's look at this little cool feature right here. It says, see who else lived at this address. Well, of course I want to see who else lived at this address. So now we have Edward O. Long lived there between 1930. Oh, who's Edward Long? Lawrence Sanders. Lawrence Sanders is definitely somebody in my tree. Agnes Merling. Agnes Merling, that is Elizabeth's sister-in-law. Her sister, because Howard is her brother-in-law. Emma J. Long, I'm not entirely sure who that is. Something to investigate. Elizabeth Long, that's another sister of Gertrude. Gertrudo Wrong. Who's Gertrudo Wrong? Let's go look at what happened. Let's zoom that in really quickly. Let's scroll down. Gertrudo Long. We have what is called a misread. So this image and all the images in the city directory collection was read through OCR technology. And if you'd seen my video on newspapers and working around OCR technology, you know that OCR isn't perfect, but it is pretty darn fascinating. So there is a way to go turn Gertrudo Wrong into Gertrude Rang. Let's go and see how to do that next. So I need to come back out of that full screen mode and scroll to the bottom. And notice it says, did you spot an error? Suggest an alternative. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to correctly spell Gertrude Rang and say that it was a transcription error. Now they want us to tell us why you're suggesting this. So the OCR misread and then hit submit. So they will take that submission, and in a few days, all of the users of MyHeritage will now be able to see that it's Gertrude Rang. So let's go back one more time to see who else is in this address. This look at who else is in the address can help you figure out missing relatives that you didn't know about who were living in the house at the same time. Like, I don't know who Edward O. Long is. I'm going to have to figure out who's Edward and why is he in the tree? Or it can help you learn house histories because you can see how the house changed hands in multiple generations, and maybe you'll pick up some extra relatives. Remember, city directories, they began to be popular in about the 1835s. That's the ticks and tallies section of the U.S. Census record, y'all. Oh my gosh. I told you I was excited. Now, remember I said OCR technology is sometimes a little wonky? Well, it is really nice that on MyHeritage we can attempt to self-heal the misreads, but sometimes there are reads that just, they don't work. So let me show you this. So we have a record, we're looking for Geraldine Rang, and the address is 304 Deschler Avenue. And when we come to workplace, it says Deschler Avenue, Gertrude L., Teacher Reeb Avenue School, because the entry, the raw data that the OCR read, smushed Gertrude and Geraldine together. So if we scroll in, I know I'm going fast. If I'm scrolling in, you can see there was a ditto mark. Oh, those dang ditto marks. When we have those ditto marks, sometimes the OCR doesn't separate the individuals. So I asked MyHeritage what happens in that case. They say, well, the only thing you can do is just put that it's Gertrude Rang, or at least it's Geraldine Rang, and leave that information. And because you can't alter the address, you can't say, hey, there's two people smushed together. So what you're going to have to then do is get the web link for this profile and also go and attach it over to Gertrude to remember that you found it as well. So it maybe in the future they'll make it fully self-healing, but this is one area I was like, oh, darn, wouldn't it be great if we could edit that out? But, OCR isn't perfect, so we just have to deal with it. There's one more thing I want to point out to you with the city directories. In a perfect world, I would have my way, but honestly, I'm still super excited about what's going to take place. So I'm going to look for Alita Geisler. She's in Ohio. And when I come to the search results, I see Alita here and another Alita, and then Alita N, Alita M, Alita C, more Alitas, more Alitas. All of these Alitas are the same person, but when you get into the profile, MyHeritage, when it says, oh, look, we found all of these entries for Alita. It even picked up the Lena, but I think primarily because the William Joseph taking place. It is not picking up those Alita M's, the Alita N's, the Alita C's, and all the variations, because you're right, I'm over here in William instead of Alita. That's interesting. So I click on Alita N here, and it doesn't pick up all the other Alitas, just the ones that are Alita N's. So what that means is that you still need to keep looking through all of the hints, especially if there's slight variations, because you want to make sure you grab every instance of the city directories your ancestors are in. You could amend the record, but Alita N is what is actually appearing on the record, so it's not a misread. So MyHeritage, I totally get it. They're not really going to change it all that much, but you can put an other spelling variation and people will be able to search that in the future. But by and large, what I'm trying to tell you is go and get all of the entries for your ancestors and link them to your family tree. But oh my goodness, the time you're going to save and the cool things you're going to find because MyHeritage is doing the work for you. This by far is my favorite new technology of 2020. Can you imagine where we're headed, where these algorithms are going to get so smart? Not only are they going to ask you, is this one record at a time related to your ancestor, but here's 10 or 20 records that we think are connected. And this is from the records only. There's nobody on MyHeritage other than myself putting together a Alita's tree that I know of, finding all these records. So I'm super excited. I'm so excited. So I want you to go and practice playing with the city directories on MyHeritage. If you want more tips and tricks on how to use MyHeritage, go check out this playlist up there. And if you want to see our latest video, go right here. And then tell me how much fun you're having with city directories in the comments section below.